You think she won't leave you for that buff dude? Promise you, bro, she will. You think she won't leave you for that guy?
You know why she won't leave? Because before I got into the relationship, I got to know her. I told her my strengths and things that I'm learning how to get better at. I took time to understand her, how she operates, where she comes from, what she's been through. And then I think, how could that affect her in her decision making, her choice making? And how could that affect me? Another reason is because I believe in understanding and problem solving. Because I believe in transparency and communication. So for example, when we got into an argument before we were married, I told her when we got into a big argument, my mind went to a place of get out of here and escape. And I checked in with myself and I didn't want to do that. And I just wanted to share that with her. And we talked about that. We were very honest with each other. The reason why we won't leave is because we took time to understand where each other comes from and how we operate. And we can actually learn from arguments. And society doesn't teach us this. In fact, the society you're living in teaches you to just be around people who are attractive and to always be attractive and to just focus on looking good. And when you step outside of that world, right, like when you get over that concept and you just think I want to be happy instead of having other people be happy based off of how I live, then you get freedom and then you get peace. And you understand everybody is telling you how to be in a relationship and how to relate to the rest of humanity when really nobody knows what to do and everything is in theory. When you know yourself, your relationship doesn't fail because you want to understand that other person, because you know what it's like to feel misunderstood. And therefore you want to understand other people. And you understand we are all making our choices off of a roadmap that was handed to us by parents that most likely don't know where we are going, right? And I don't believe in replacing somebody else because I'm insecure in a relationship. Most people don't want to be completely and totally honest and transparent in a relationship because the last time we tried in childhood, we got hurt or rejected. If you're concerned that somebody is going to leave you in a relationship, you must find something that you are incredibly passionate about, that like your why must be so incredibly strong for doing what you are doing. That's how you get a relationship where you get monogamy and loyalty. In the same way my now wife had options, I had options, but I didn't just jump into something because somebody looked good or said the right things, or all of a sudden I temporarily felt confident or I felt like appreciated by somebody who said certain words to me. For me, I would much rather be with somebody who understands who they are, who knows who they are, who can actually problem solve and take responsibility in the same way that I do. And on top of that, we're living in a society that likes to replace people. If I get into an argument with you, I can go on social media and find somebody who doesn't know anything about me, but just goes off of physicality and off of a couple videos. And just like that, I can feed my ego and feed the illusion and just, escape. Or I can actually take responsibility, figure out where that comes from, figure out the reason why my mind thinks that way, figure out what her logic is, communicate with her, and then actually learn something and grow and evolve. In fact, all of the arguments that we've actually have healed me, have helped me learn and grow and be a better person. I'm going to take it a step further. If you like this conversation and you're like, oh, we can actually learn from relationships, and I was never taught that. Me either. I have a series that I've created that's in the bottom left-hand corner that's going to show you how you can actually get benefits from arguments and how you can actually get benefits from those days, like today, like it's Sunday, right? I'm just relaxing. If you feel sad, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel angry, you can actually grow from those moments. And society hustles us and lies to us and says, don't do that because you're not enough. If you're feeling tired, you should just push past it. If you're feeling angry, you should just smile and be positive and optimistic. And it doesn't work that way. And if you're single, please get fascinated in yourself before you get into a relationship. Because if you've been around narcissistic parents, and if you've been in narcissistic relationships and been around people who don't take the time to understand you, you're, without even wanting to, you're going to get back into another relationship like that. Because most likely, if you've had abandonment issues and codependency, you're looking for somebody who appears as confident. And if you don't know yourself, chances are you are going to have an unhealthy perspective about what confident is, or what being attractive is, or even what the definition of love is, right? Like, whose roadmap are you going off of? What I've realized in this awakening is that if you actually want to get to the place where you want to go, that happiness place, that comfortable place, that nurturing place, that peaceful place, you have to discover your own way. You have to find your own way. You must discover why you think the way that you think, why other people around you think the way that they think, where that stems from, where that originates from, and to be able to actually go out there and find another truth and find another perspective. Most people don't don't want to do this because they're so incredibly programmed to need external validation, to need somebody else say you're doing the right thing. When you actually start to realize on this journey, you're the creator, you're the person who's making the choices and the decisions, you've always had options, this changes everything. I would rather be patient than be desperate. Most of us are operating from a space where we have a wound from our childhood, specifically with our mother or with our father. And in fact, if you go into my profile, you will also see that there's a book about the mother wound by Bethany Webster, who's been studying this and researching this for years, who so eloquently helps break down how patriarchal society affects women, how men are affected by the mother wound, and how humans are operating from this space. On top of that, there's another one that's really powerful. If you really want a simple, powerful read, you might have already read it, but it might be a good one to reread. The 4 Agreements, 4 simple agreements that can change your life. Like, the more that you actually educate yourself, the more that you read, and the more that you change your algorithm on social media, you don't have to watch videos like the one that I stitched. You don't have to keep on going down these rabbit holes trying to learn more and more and more and more. Life is actually very simple, and we complicate it because we're always looking to squeeze more benefits out of the toothpaste tube of life. Most of the reason why you are not happy and why relationships are not happy is because we don't know who we are. And we've been taught by mom and dad and by society to again, look for that validation externally. So the next time, for example, you get into an argument, you can actually thank that person internally. Because if you're getting triggered in that relationship, there's a wound that you have. There's a mother wound or a father wound. There's childhood trauma popping up. And again, in this series in the bottom left corner, I help you identify that. Because most of you can identify that you have trauma or you've been through something, but most of us don't know the actual conversation to have with ourselves or with the other person to really find the completion of that wound, to be able to release that, to go into a new space, to go into a new chapter. Reframe the way you look at arguments and disagreements and, fights and insecure moments where somebody puts you down or attacks you. Reframe the way that you perceive life. Change your perspective, change your filter, change your movie, change your world. But all of your happiness is going to come from understanding yourself, getting to know yourself, loving why you are doing what you are doing. As much as it matters what you are doing, it really matters why you are doing it. That's going to get you out of the depression and out of the funk. Thinking that somebody else is the reason why you're upset is the biggest lie and the biggest hustle and the biggest story that society gives people just like you and I. Learn how to find power in arguments and in days where you feel angry, sad, or just lazy. Learn the power of setting boundaries and creating space in your life so you can process what you've gone through. In fact, if you're feeling tired, probably the reason why you're feeling tired is because you've been on this healing journey for a while. And as you're learning to love yourself, you're letting go of all that other stuff. And it's exhausting and it requires time for you to actually rest. These kind of understandings will help you the next time you want to get into a relationship or in the relationship you're currently in, that you can be the same person in a relationship with that same person and just change your perspective on feeling uncomfortable, feeling insecure, feeling attacked, feeling like you're not good enough, and you can actually fall in love with that person, or you can have a healthy and happy relationship just like myself. One of my biggest understandings is if I'm angry, it's not them. It's my responsibility to take a look at. Even with being a father, if I'm triggered that kid is being direct, that's because as a child, I didn't feel I could directly communicate. So instead of me being angry and triggered all day, I can actually laugh at it and I can cry and I can be angry and I can heal that child wound and reinterpret my life. This is how we get into a happy relationship. And this is how we get monogamy. And this is how we can go to sleep not worrying about that person's going to leave us or abandon us like, our childhood.
You think she won't leave you for that buff dude? Promise you, bro, she will.